Things go bump in darkest night, bringing stories to the light. Deaths arrive with chilling claim, whispering the ghostly name. Hear the tales for all to see. Spirited chats eternally.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful weekend. For a lot of people in the United States, it's a 3-day weekend. So I hope that if you're celebrating, you're doing it in a safe way. Let's go that way. And, one of these days I'll have to write the stuff down so I know what I'm saying as I'm saying it. It should be a wonderful night. And if you look to this direction over here, there's a new feature. Hello, cuz. The Gospel by Rona. There's a new feature. When we stream, there is chat on the side that we get to read. And if you're counting on Facebook, you only see the Facebook chat. If you're counting on YouTube, you only see the YouTube chat. You don't get to interact with each other. Well, now, thanks to StreamYard, they put it on the screen. So no matter where you're looking at, you get to see what everybody's saying. So that way I don't look like I'm just like answering random questions that nobody asked, because let's face it, I look weird enough or sound weird enough as is. So we don't need the added BS of trying to figure out what the hell I'm talking about, because we don't know what I'm talking about. So tonight's guest is Billiam from the YouTube channel and Facebook, I believe, as well. He'll have to clarify that. Called Billiam Presents Spooky History. I recommend that you go check out his stuff. It's great. And the print's too small. What the heck are you talking about? Does this help you? There. Make it a little bigger for you, cuz. So make sure you check out his stuff. If you have any questions, well, you know where to chat. So instead of me just blabbing on about nothing, let's bring him on. I present Billiam. Hello, sir. Sorry that you had to listen to me rant and rave about nothing.
No, it's okay. And the intro video, I thought it was so awesome, honestly.
Thank
So
you. I
thumbs up
made
for
that chat. I made the song myself. That's my creation. The video I did myself, and so it's all a Mr. Fedora original.
Mr. Fedora production. Yeah.
There you go.
I'd be proud of
Actually, it's
yourself.
fun. Well, thank you. I try not to, because my head's big enough as is. So, pretty soon I won't be able to get out the door. Actually, I'm starting up my own little company, per se. I guess I got to do that a little closer together so you can see me.
Company.
I plan on calling it Mr. Fedora's Media, because I'm doing a little bit of everything. These videos, YouTube, music now. And I could hear my co-founder Leefoot saying, "That's not real music, because it's AI generated music." So, but instead of waiting for him to answer, we'll take a moment and introduce yourself, please.
All right. Well, I go by Billiam W. Dunlap. If you want to look me up on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you want to look for Billiam Presents Spooky History, like you were saying before. I travel mainly in the tri-state area, so Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia. I've went to Pittsburgh. This summer, I plan on going down to Florida and investigating one of the haunted ships down there that you can stay on overnight. Robot music, he said.
Yeah, we go back and forth over it. About we pick on each other all the time.
Yeah. Um, but
Do
yeah,
you? What
I
ship was that?
what is it?
What ship are you talking about?
Um, it's a good question. You asked me really fast. Um, I want to say it's like the lady. I think it's the Lady
Mm,
Margaret, but I'm not sure.
awesome.
Um, but there's like a it was like mated ships. There was like a male one and a female one, and the male one's still in use, and the female one they docked and let people stay on.
Yeah, cool. So is the name for all your accounts all the same?
Yes, yeah. So if anybody wants to look me up, just type in what's on the screen right there, and you'll be able to pull me up.
Nice, nice. And yeah, this is my cuz in real life my cousin. He's make fun of the music.
The robot music.
Yeah, right, right. At least I believe that's what he's doing. He's a little out there in right field, but he's a he's our special cousin.
Give him a little pat on the head.
Yeah. Just see, he lives down there a few states below me, so I don't have to worry about him coming and crashing my party. So, how long have you been doing these kind of adventures?
um, I think I started down this little YouTube path 2 years ago. Um, so I've got 2 seasons, about 26 episodes. At one point, I was coming out with 2 episodes a month, and I don't know, life got busy and started into a relationship and had to take care of kids and stuff. So kind of took away from things, but I'm getting back into it now. The most recent one I did was the Pocahontas Fuel Building in Pocahontas, Virginia. Um,
Okay.
and that event was hosted by Allegheny Ghost Tours.
Yeah.
Appalachian Ghost Tours. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. They're
Okay,
gonna
I have
murder
heard
me.
of them.
But yeah, it was hosted by Appalachian Ghost Tours, and I was actually able to get some pretty good stuff while I was there. There was marbles being thrown across the room when no one was in that section of the room. I got a door slamming. It opened a little bit and then it slammed closed. Um,
Wow.
I want to say there's one other thing that was like huge that was noteworthy, but I can't think of it at the moment.
So you started off first in YouTube as opposed to like Facebook and such?
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I started off on YouTube. I was doing videos, kind of like streaming video games and stuff like that for a while, and I would do little video projects. I did like a time lapse of somebody doing a huge mural on a wall.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
Back when I was in art school, I have a degree in video production. So back when I was in art school, um, it really forced me to look at the way people interpret data in a visual media. Um, and it got me really interested. But because of that, now I can't watch a movie and watch it like a normal person. I'm like breaking it down, like why is there somebody's arm over there, or that he didn't have that
Right.
cup in his hand last shot. Why has he got it in his hand now?
Or why is it a different color shirt in the background?
Absolutely, yeah. Things like that, they just pop out to me, and sometimes it can ruin a movie for me. But sometimes it makes it more fun too. Art school was a lot of fun. It was a lot of pressure. Um, Small little tangent. I was head of the video production club, head of the video film club, and
Maybe.
yeah. So I had to get people to sign up for the club, and I was like, one of the powerful motivators I can think of is like smell and taste. So right outside the elevators, I set up a little popcorn stand,
Oh
And
boy.
as soon as they came out of the elevators, they smelled the popcorn and came straight over to the table. It worked beautifully.
I was about to say it sounded like it worked pretty good. That was a good trick
Yeah,
there. And
yeah.
popcorn is next to nothing to make.
I really liked it there. It was a lot of fun. Made a lot of friends there. It was the Art Institute of Ohio, Cincinnati. It's a Art Institute school.
So I'm only a few hours away from that, not too far. Now, so you think having that background, do you think that's helped you with paranormal world as far as like the cameras and things like that, or you think that's more of a
I do, and if anything, I feel like anybody that knows me, which like if you just meet me off the internet, you don't really know me, but like I am blunt, honest, and I kind of hold like integrity in high regard. So if I watch something from the perspective of somebody that's been to video school for that, and I can tell that it's been messed with or edited or something, I'll leave a
yeah?
little, like. But the things that I record, if I do anything to them, it's like color correction, and I'm speeding up the video just like a fraction because I've got like 2.5 hours of footage. And most of my viewers, they might watch an hour and a half, but 2.5 hours is a lot for somebody to sit down and watch. So that's about the
They
only
say
thing I do.
they say that a lot of times, even anything above 25 minutes, they don't. A lot
They
of people won't
scroll
even click
push
into
pretty
it.
hard.
But so that is something that I think I've heard before is if you speed up video like 1.25 or something, very slow, slight difference. Most people don't notice it.
hmm And you can kind of tell it in the voice more than anything. But in terms of can it cause effects? Um, no, I mean the only thing you're doing is dropping the individual pictures faster. You're compressing them. So it's not changing anything. If there's a shadow that runs across or something, it shouldn't cause that.
I would imagine if you would just take that segment, slow it down to highlight it for people.
A lot of times I'll put text on the screen. Or if I have a camera failure or something, I like to let people know. That way it's not like a crazy jump cut, like one of these old 80s movies. You're seeing one thing and then it just jumps to the other.
Easy now. I'm from that generation, so I like that cheesy 80s horror vibe.
I mean, I have no issues with it. I think Little Shop of
But
Horrors was a beautiful, beautiful movie. Um,
there's a lot of actors in there that people didn't realize either.
in Little Shop of Horrors.
Right. Like Tisha Campbell, one of the background singers. You know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Uh, do you know the TV show My Wife and Kids?
Yeah.
The mother of that show? She
Oh,
was one of the background singers. Martin Lawrence married her.
huh.
So yeah, see. But
Small world.
as far as editing and such and things go, I kind of picked up a few tricks that nowhere near what you probably know. From years of looking through and editing and such. I know that with the major cuts, because we got 14 hours of video, you're not gonna put that out for nothing because
Right,
it's. But so sometimes people kind of question, well, what was that big cut there for?
right. And
Most
I want to do like highlights of videos and stuff like that. But it's something that like I would have to set aside like a weekend and go through all my videos and just sit down and knock them all out. Um, but I would like to do something like that for TikTok and the mediums that use shorter burst videos, I'll call them. So like Instagram or TikTok.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. Sounds like something that you would probably enjoy a lot more than somebody else.
I would do it. I mean, it's work.
I
People
mean,
enjoy it.
people will enjoy the end result,
Right, right.
but the
Hopefully.
actual process, at least that's my thought. So it seemed to me that you explore a lot of haunted or abandoned places.
Yes.
Am I correct in that assumption?
Yes. Yes. I try to stick to places that are on the historic registry. That way I know at the end of the day I'm going to be able to document some kind of history. Um,
That
it
makes
just kind
sense.
of, yeah, I mean, it just kind of makes it easier for me, but it also, because some of the places I've been to, it's just word of mouth. This happened there, this whole family unalived over here. And it's, you don't know. So if I go to some place that's on the historic registry, they documented what happened there, the names and stuff like that. And that's when I like to go and go to like the local libraries of that area. If you go to like the big
Yeah.
county one, it's not as good. But if you go to the small local libraries in those towns and just look through the newspaper articles, you'll be surprised some of the things that you find.
I don't know if I want to find some of those. Now, is that where you came up with the name of your channel and such?
Spooky history, yeah. I wanted to try and find a fun way to kind of teach people about historic places. Um, and then I wanted to incorporate like my desire to pursue paranormal things into that as well.
Hmm. And sorry, I got distracted. Cause shave, you look like Santa and Lord Raydon had to be. Oh, we could tell he's younger, huh? Bring up Mortal Kombat like that. He's just mad because Santa hasn't brought him a gift in a while. But he doesn't leave. He left milk and cookies out, but they were more edibles than regular chocolate
Yeah.
chip. So Santa was late that year delivering the rest of his gifts.
Santa did not
But
get very far after that.
no, just like for more cookies. But yes, I plan on shaving that, and this doesn't have nothing to do with anything. But last time I was shaving, my razor broke on me, so I've been too cheap to go buy another one. I've been trying to fix it, and I haven't been able to fix it. So I guess I got to break down. So if anybody want to donate to me, my Cash App is just kidding.
That's a whole struggle that doesn't get talked about is like men's beards, like the hair on our faces is so strong. I feel like most of those razors, I would go through one every couple months. Just break them.
And
So
they're not cheap either. I mean,
no.
yeah, it's just, but I don't know. My work hasn't said nothing yet. But I'm starting to get those side glances, so it's about time, I
It's
guess.
about that time.
Plus,
Yeah.
plus, plus the warmer months are coming up sooner or later, for real. Yeah,
Comb
but
it.
took a lot of years to be able to grow it like this. But when I shave, though, I look like I'm freaking a teenager again.
I understand that.
But,
The last time I
so
shaved, go ahead.
yeah, no, no, you're good. Go ahead.
The last time I shaved, everybody that I worked with just like gave me the weirdest look and they're like, don't ever shave again. Like you look way better with a beard. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna hide my face the rest of the day and
I
see you guys in
suppose
like
you would have
2
got in
weeks.
trouble if I suppose you'd get in trouble if you said that to a woman. You look
Probably
better with a
so.
beard.
Probably so.
There goes all the viewers. We have nobody here now.
They all left.
Must have been all women that were watching. But all kidding aside, um, so now I'm trying to rethink of some of my questions I had. So you're, for lack of better words, and nothing's come to my mind, you're more of a lone wolf type situation then, or
Yeah.
do you have a team?
I do not. I work with a couple different teams. I've worked with Teresa. She's out of a group in Huntington, West Virginia. I work with Appalachian Ghost Tours. They've helped me out tremendously. I can't thank them enough. Um, and we kind of help each other as far as creating content and marketing events and stuff. But for the most part, yeah, I'm going out there by myself, especially starting out the whole first season. I think, except for maybe 2 episodes, I'm by myself. And some of those places I will never go back by myself. And I don't go into them like expecting to get any evidence or, to even like get any kind of response on my machines that indicates that there's intelligence there. So I try to go in, just clear mind, whatever I get is what I get. And I went to, it's called the Pope Lick Train Trestle. It's in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So the lore behind this place is that there is some kind of very dark entity. Some may say it's a demon or the devil, but it's the Goat Man is the local lore,
Okay.
and he stays in the creek underneath this train bridge, um, and for some reason people go up onto the train bridge. Something coerces them to go up on this train bridge, and
Hmm.
about every time someone has went up there and started out on the bridge, a train starts coming. The bridge is so long and there's no side rails or anywhere to jump to without dying or probably breaking both your legs. So
Wow.
trains start coming and many people have died on these train tracks. And I was interested in what was compelling them to go up there because the lore itself says that the whatever this entity is down in the creek below it. So what's compelling them to even go up on the tracks? So I went there and I'd say it was probably midnight. It was pitch black, um, by myself, and I don't really hear anything. I'm getting words and intelligent conversation on my apps and my devices. And I start seeing what looked like lights or orbs coming from that creek, where,
Hmm.
according to
Right.
lore, the source of things is. Um,
Right.
and there's no house over there. It's just a creek bed into a big field and then a mountain. So there's no houses over there. There's nothing that should be producing light.
No
So I
swamp.
start no, just a creek,
So
just a little creek,
so not like
just a little
well,
creek.
I was just curious because of swamp
Oh
gas.
yeah,
And,
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I do not know the chemical physics of swamp gas, so don't let me sway anybody that's watching this. But as far as I know, there's nothing over that should have been producing light. And I was seeing a light, and it seemed like it would like duck behind a tree every once in a while and pop back out. Um, and as I got closer to the train bridge itself, I started to feel like a burn on the back of my neck. And just
Mm.
before this, I got like, I'm an angel. Um, I am of the light. things like this on my devices. And I started feeling this burning on the back of my neck. And all I could do was take my GoPro and shine it on the back of my neck because I can't
Right.
see the back of my neck and I'm there by myself, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I did that, and it wasn't long after that that it just started burning really bad, and I was like, okay, most places I don't tap out. I am tapping out here. I am done. I'm calling it. And I didn't look at the footage basically out of fear. I didn't look at the footage until after I'd already uploaded it to YouTube.
No doubt.
Um,
I probably wouldn't have either.
yeah, I would not go by yourself just in terms of um, having someone with you in case you twist your ankle or something like that. You know, it's just buddy system in general.
I was
Um,
gonna say that.
yeah, but I finally got up the nerve to watch this video, and you can clearly see there's like 3 marks. It almost makes like a trident shape on the back of my neck.
Hmm.
Um, and
You didn't have no other marks like that?
mm-mm,
Because the first thing when I see anything in threes is mocking the Holy Trinity.
right, right. And so that made me feel like it was definitely not good energy. um, Felt very heavy. And some places I'll walk into, I get a sense of like maybe I'll feel like dizzy or it'll make my stomach hurt.
Hmm.
But this place just felt like really heavy, and it felt like something was observing you. Um, Makes you feel very uncomfortable.
So you say, and yeah, I think I never seen any episodes on that particular area other than Ghost Adventures was there once.
Oh, really?
I don't think, yeah, I don't think Zach ever got out of the RV though.
That place is, yeah, that's a whole different animal. I've went to some places and it was only pleasant energies that I felt. Like the Mud River Bridge. They It used to be on the Mud River, and they moved the entire bridge to I want to say the Milton Fairgrounds. And so
Hmm.
now it sits over a pond there at the Milton Fairgrounds. And there's a little fence in front of it, but there's also like a decent sized gap on the sides. So um, I may or may not have went onto the bridge and filmed an episode. And when I was there, it was a really pleasant experience. From what I was getting on my devices and the energy I felt, um, said it was a little boy and that he had fond memories there, and so he wanted to stay there, and that's why he liked being there. Was because he had fond memories. Um,
So he's not
no,
trapped per se.
no,
He
it's
just
like he chooses to be there.
that's
Like
his favorite.
he's reliving memories with his family and stuff. And like you start getting these intelligent responses back, and you kind of want to know like why are you there? What happened to you? And that's when I honestly got like a little sad because the responses that I got indicated that this little kid was bullied and pushed into the river.
Wow,
And he ended up drowning. Um,
it is sad.
and so I'm thinking, maybe that's why he's trapped there. But if he's there and he's telling me, communicating to me, um, that he's there experiencing these good memories, then I, I'm happy for him, I guess.
Right, sad of the
I-
circumstance, but happy
right.
for his current.
His current
Yeah, I
situation
get
and how he's handling it. Yeah, I'm proud of him. Proud of you, guy. You can
that.
hear me out there.
Maybe through some electronics means carrying through the waves and
Right, right.
so
But that
so
that's one of the
you good?
yeah, that's one of the better places I've went to, as far as energy and stuff
Some
like that.
remembering that goat bridge episode kind of got you messing with your neck a little bit there, huh?
It did, honestly, and I took
Brought
a little
back
break
memories.
after that. I took a little break after that. It was very uncomfortable to feel discomfort that you can't explain.
I understand. I've had physical things happen to me before. So you brought up the fact of having apps and such. Do you use your phone to
I do.
do the investigations?
I do. I always start the video. I show that I put my phone on airplane mode. Um, and the app that I use most of the time is called Spirit Talker. I was following a group. They go by Twin Paranormal, and they're pretty big now. But I'd
Oh yeah.
followed them for a long time. That's the paranormal for you. But yeah, I use Spirit Talker. It works very well for me. I get intelligent responses, usually pretty quick. I've used other devices. Flashlights work really well, the twist ones. But I think that's kind of like a classic one, all the way back to Annabelle's owners. I can't think of their name right now.
Who?
Annabelle, the doll, the haunted doll that's on tour right now.
The Warrens.
The Warrens, yeah, that was something. One of the
Head in the Rain.
Yeah, that was one of the things they did was they used those flashlights a lot. Um,
They that whole situation with the doll. I made a couple small videos and comments on it over the last month. I
it,
feel it's a
I,
money grab.
yeah, I
Personally,
was told
Ryan Buell, that's their
guys work well.
son-in-law is Ryan, who's doing it, and he's had a bit of a history himself. Do you know who that is?
Their son, is that what you said?
The son-in-law.
Son-in-law?
Uh,
No, I don't know much about him.
he he was uh, he was on a TV show for a bit. Uh, I think it was called Pairs, uh, PIRS. Uh,
Okay.
and they were about the same time or just before Ghost Hunters came out, and it was a pretty good show. It was pretty well known, and a lot of people were paying attention. Then some controversy came up. Then he got into different habits and such, and I hear he's doing better as far as stuff like that goes on, and I'm happy for him if that's the case, because such things is hard to get over.
Right,
Um,
that I don't know if it was tiger's blood or what he was messing with, but I hope he gets past it and over it. And
Definitely. But I feel that this is a mistake, personally, taking the doll to extremely haunted
I
locations.
I agree. Um,
And then I
and
hear they lost her
they
for
did
several hours.
for I think at least 3 hours. They lost her somehow. Um, and I heard that whenever they went to, was it New Orleans, the jailbreak?
Hmm.
They had just taken her into that town not long before. It was the same day. Later that day, the jailbreak happened, and those guys
And the
escaped.
plantation fire, and I hear Madame LaRose's house caught on fire, or the big voodoo queen.
Yeah,
Her place caught on fire as well.
yeah. I don't think it's a good idea. And I did see one video, which like I can't confirm because I don't know where the tour is going, but they said if you connect all the tour locations for the doll, it makes a pentagram.
Or the
And
Grimoire. Her next stop is supposed to be Chicago, and then
Chicago.
Pennsylvania.
Well,
So
things happen in Chicago all the time, so it would be hard
in
to.
in July, we'll be visiting Annabelle in Gettysburg. I
You will?
don't know. I don't know. I might.
It's a spicy life
It's a
decision. I
possibility.
respect you, sir. Um, I mean, I don't know if I would. I definitely wouldn't touch it, I don't think.
No, I don't. I don't think I'll do all that.
It would be cool
I
to
might
just
pay. Be cool to what?
it'd be cool to just go up to it with some devices and see if you can get something from it.
See, maybe I'm more of a jerk because I'm thinking about paying a kid $20 to go up and make fun of
So they
her.
better stay away from Virginia. We don't want it. I just did an episode in Virginia.
How you doing, Jonathan? I hope you're doing well tonight. This is Jonathan Myers from Crossover Paranormal, one of the most truest form of paranormal unity you'll ever find is this guy right here. Um, if you get a chance, check him out. He's the top notch guy. Actually, I met him through a mutual friend. We talked like this online a few times beforehand, but we went down. He set up a paranormal event in North Carolina to where we went and onto the USS North Carolina battleship. So that's how I met John and his pops and such. And it was a great night. Big old battleship. Oh, that thing was
You get
huge.
some evidence?
We got some stuff. It's yeah. If you scroll through our YouTube, because his Facebook is now deleting stuff off for live videos and such. But if you go on YouTube, it'll say the haunted battleship or the haunted USS North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I
we
figured
were.
you were talking about the doll. I was just mentioning last episode I was in Pocahontas, Virginia. It's like 5 minutes across the border.
Hey Rona, $20 if you'll go to Gettysburg and stick your tongue out at Annabelle. But oh, I was gonna say something about Annabelle. You know
50
what
if
I
you
think?
50 if you tell Annabelle that you will let whatever it has in it possess you for a day.
Here, just a day now that she gets medieval car accidents and all that. Ditto
I've
for
heard,
PA.
yeah. Like
No,
the
Leaffoot,
previous owners and stuff.
I'm gonna take him along with me. We'll bring a bottle of Jack and offer it to us. But I'm thinking at this point they might as well just take Annabelle and Robert the doll, and there's a third doll too, and just put them in a room and just see what happens. See if
Yeah.
it's battle royale or if it's
Just
like
put in
some
a
kind
couple
of big
cameras.
right. Just let it go.
I
I think
I
sell
think you're
pay
onto
per
something
view.
here. I think you're onto something here.
It'd be like a UFC fight, with all the cameras and all that. And you know,
Which I thought this kind of unrelated, but whenever all this stuff with Diddy started, I was like, they should put like a camera in his cell and just have like a pay-per-view feed of his cell.
I
Like
bet you 10-1 he probably would do it if he
they
could
would
make
make
money.
so much money.
Crawford Road. Nah, I'm not sure what that is, my friend.
What is
Must be a
Crawford
local.
Road? Can you tell us?
Oh God, you're gonna have him talking for an hour now. But nah, Annabelle though, I wouldn't mind going to see her, in all
Yeah,
honesty.
pay your
But
respects.
Ed and Lorraine said people are saying that they had her out and about, and they did, but it would be at a convention, controlled places and it was only for a few hours. It was never like a multi-day away. From my understanding, they don't even have the her in the original case that the Ed and Lorraine kept her in.
They put her
So
in a different case. They showed that whenever they grabbed her.
Yorktown.
Which in and of itself, I know that case was like blessed and sealed, so it broke the seal.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I can imagine. I and crossover. Yeah, this is what I was saying. Jonathan is crossover. Um,
Jonathan's crossover.
right.
You're
I would
living two
recommend.
lives.
Huh?
I said you're living two lives.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to prop up my whole views and such. He's one man trying to earn me a. And no, I kid. But yeah, Annabelle. That's like I said. I'd love to see take them all. I know Robert the doll and Annabelle, and take them to the island of dolls.
Oh man, that would be interesting.
Just leave them there on their own for 24
I feel
hours.
like
It'd be
something
like
would
a,
happen to the boat on the way there,
probably,
and
probably.
Annabelle
Right,
washes up
Annabelle
like a Chucky doll on the shore somewhere, and a little kid picks it up.
just walks off into the wilderness.
I mean, at this point, they should. Did they make an Annabelle movie? I know there was something with a doll that looked kind of similar.
Are you saying you never watched any of the Annabelle movies?
They are. Oh, so there are Annabelle movies. I am completely
The
oblivious to.
Conjuring, the Conjuring, and all
Wait,
that.
okay, so I've seen The Conjuring. That's about Annabelle. I know it's about
Yeah.
the Warrens.
Or maybe you're right, but I thought Annabelle was in that. I thought
She might
she
have
was
been.
in. She was in a couple movies. I still want to know why it's named after me. Yeah, Rona's true name is Robert. So Robert the doll,
Celebrity death match
celebrity.
of the dolls. Take him to Doll Island and just see who comes out on top.
Right. So yeah, Annabelle was on the movie Annabelle, of course. Um, I'm trying to pull up my phone, but maybe somebody will drop it in the comment what movies Annabelle was in. But maybe somebody will comment on what they are. But so now that we went off on that tangent, let's come back to your life.
Okay.
What would you do if you were on a location and you're in the middle of investigating an abandoned building and you came across a doll like Annabelle just sitting there?
I want to say I wouldn't pick it up, but I'd totally pick it up for a second and just kind of like look at it and then try to put it back exactly where it was.
You wouldn't take it with you?
No, not something like that. I went to a location. I think it was two videos back from the most recent one, um, and everybody had went through this building already, and I found kind of like this little hidey hole that goes back around underneath. I went back there and I found some bones.
Mm,
Um, and Annabelle would whip that tail. Yeah, my money would probably be on Annabelle.
mine too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I went back into this little area and they had a group down. So uh Appalachian Ghost Tours, they they allow me to kind of like freely float as the events are going on. And a lot of times I try to help them and I'll help with the groups and go along with them. Because I feel like I'm kind of like some kind of lightning rod for these entities, these spirits, energies, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah. A light in the
Um,
darkness.
something like that, yeah. And it's been that way for a long time. I think it first started when my grandma passed away is when I first started kind of like exploring into the world of the paranormal and the afterlife. Um, I remember she passed away and we went to the wake, and that evening I felt drained and I took a nap in her old bed, and laying there, I felt like her presence. And I felt like she was just letting me know that she's not in pain anymore and that she's still around and watching over me. And that's kind of what I needed in that moment, to be honest, because I had just lost my grandma. But that's what started me on this path. Um, since then, I lived places where I would see orbs come down the stairs. Um, and I just had questions that I couldn't be answered by science or logic. So I started doing this little YouTube channel to kind of explore it for myself and share with everyone the things that I was seeing and the evidence that I was getting. That way they can kind of decide for themselves.
Hmm. Well, sorry about your grandmother's passing. Um,
Thank you.
I have no idea what he's asparagus. Rona, you need some hot pockets. You're starting to drop words or something.
Hot
Go get a hot
pockets?
pocket. Get those hot pockets.
What is
But,
spirages?
that's what I'm
Spirages?
saying.
Did
That's
I
what I'm
say
saying.
spirages? I might have combined two words.
If you did, I didn't catch it. But now there's a lot of people that debunk or dismiss orbs, right?
Yeah, and as far as like my background, my education, a lot of times it is a lens flare,
Or
or a
moisture.
reflection. Yeah, it can be moisture on the lens. It could be light bouncing off of something that you're not seeing, um, or another light source altogether. But
Now,
there's things
now with
that's
you,
happened. Go ahead.
now with you, and having some background with different filming techniques and things like that, um, what would make you deem a orb as paranormal as opposed to natural occurrences?
Um, I would say the movement more than anything. Which like we're in a age of like AI now, so hypothetically you could have something animated or added in, and it would be very believable. But and yeah, dust particles as well. You're not wrong. Um, but for me, it's the movement. So like if it's like a dust particle, it should follow the path that it's on. It shouldn't go this way and then shift and go down this other hallway. Um, and I mean,
I
outside of
will
that, it's
say,
dirty lens, moisture, light.
you brought up AI and such, and I kind of chuckled a little bit. I'm sure Leefoot did as well. We call Lee Baldwin Leefoot. uh, but
You
when
call
we
them what?
first Leefoot, because he's never on camera, he's very,
Leaffoot.
yeah, he's very elusive on being seen. Though the
Mhm,
ending video is of him. When I end the shows, it does like a 20-second video. It's of him
mhm.
telling people to get off his porch and come back later. So if you're if you got an extra minute when we're done chatting, babe, stay around for that. But
Oh, I will
yeah,
for sure.
this is what I was gonna bring up was we had one we followed on camera, which he's speaking of an orb, and it went under a door and came back out and went down the hallway. So it was definitely not dust. But this was very like 14 years ago or 12 years ago. It was well over 10 years ago. And we had no technology back then. And
Yeah,
we posted the video and we didn't even say it was a spirit order. We said it was an interesting order. We didn't even say it was 100%, but people were still saying it was CGI and all this. We're like, really? That's what we're gonna go with is one little white dot going underneath the door and coming down the hall if we're gonna have CGI. That's what our go-to is gonna be on. So that's why I was kind of chuckling when you were talking about AI and such.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Because
mean the deep fake stuff they call it now is it's impressive to say
well,
the
definitely,
least.
definitely. I mean, I could do a lot of stuff if I really wanted to, but
Right.
I'm not looking for that kind of fame or I'm not trying to get all that. And nobody else, luckily, nobody else in the group is either. I don't have people from WASP saying, "Oh well, we really need to do something to get our name out there." So
Right. And I do the same. I try to debunk things, and the groups that I work with, they're very good about trying to recreate sounds they hear and trying to debunk things. Um, Now it's a little bit harder to do when you're by yourself, but if you're with a group, then most things you'll be able to kind of test and see if you can debunk it or not.
right.
And
Well, I'm
recently,
sure there has to be some benefits of being on your own as well, because like I know I don't know how many times I had to tell people don't whisper.
right, right. Like
You know,
the whole Appalachian Allegheny region, like there's a set of rules in place that's like just been passed down. And some people think it's silly, but if you find yourself out in the woods at night and you hear someone saying your name, no, you didn't. To keep going.
or
Um,
whistling.
or whistling, yeah. Like there's certain rules that's like just culturally been in place over a long period of time, and we don't really think about them a whole lot. And people that come out of town, they don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about these mountains and the weird things that happen here. So
Definitely. So when somebody's looking to get into this stuff, what would you recommend them to do? Do you recommend trying to have just one or two people, or you recommend them finding a team? Do what
I
course
think
would you offer somebody getting into the paranormal?
I think like two people is enough. As long as there's two of you, then you should be safe. I would recommend like a lot of people want to jump straight into Ouija boards whenever they want to get into this kind of stuff. And
No doubt.
I personally will not mess with the Ouija board because I feel like there's you don't know what you're channeling, you don't know what door you're opening, and you don't know if you're closing it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, there's no
and
caller ID.
no, no, there is no caller ID. You heard footsteps in the woods. Yeah, that is hard to debunk. Um, Especially if it's like you can tell a difference between like an animal stepping and a human stepping. It's a huge
Oh,
difference.
definitely,
But
definitely.
as far as Ouija,
Actually, I had I don't know if we had anything or not. I took my cousin there. He came up and visited for a reunion and such a few years back. We went on a little adventure up in a cemetery called Guernsey Hollow in Frewsburg, New York, and yeah, it was a pretty exciting place. I like going there. The rest of the
yeah,
group laughs at me. They say I need a punch card
you need a punch card.
because I've been there so many times.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. I would like to go. Have you ever heard of Serpent Mound?
No, I don't believe I have.
So Serpent
The
Mound,
last one I heard was had to do with Native American side of things, but that probably was back when I was in grade school or something.
this could be the same place actually, because it was Native Americans there heavily. Sometime during the Civil War, I want to say that they basically wiped out the population there to use that area as a stronghold because it was elevated and all the other
That's
surrounding
that
areas was
sounded
low.
that
Um,
sounded familiar.
so if you go there and you bring a compass, your compass will spin around and around and
Hmm.
around. if you walk barefoot, you can almost feel an energy like coming up through your legs. There used to be an altar in the center of the earthwork.
Mm.
And that altar, the guy that was the caretaker, I don't know if something weird was happening or what, but he hooked a chain to the mower and yanked it over the hillside. So I want to believe that something weird was happening. I know that they've had numerous crop circles literally across the road from where Serpent Mound is. And if you go down along the left side of Serpent Mound, there's a gigantic snake that is, they say, is carved into the side of the rock. I've looked at this,
Because
and this is why I want to investigate there, is because I couldn't find any tool marks.
so
So to
you've been there.
me, yeah, I've been there a few times, and but it was before I started this whole YouTube thing, so I didn't record or anything. I was just visiting and checking it out.
Mhm.
But there's this giant snake that looks like it's just petrified on the side of this mountain.
Yeah.
And then on top of the mountain is a snake earthwork, and the joints of the snake align with the solstice and the planting seasons.
Do you think there's any chance that it could be magnetic, like a lot of iron ore and such causing it to be magnetic there?
I believe so. There's definitely something that interferes with the magnetic
The field.
the poles, yeah, the magnetic field. There's something there because, like I said, a compass will just spin around in a circle. I want to say that area is very dense in quartz deposits, and that could have something to do with it. Um, but it's
Have we
just a
ever
very
looked at a ley line map?
I haven't looked at one for that area. It would be interesting to see if it lays on a ley line. It would make a lot of sense if it does.
Or even a crossroad of them, that could be why it's spinning all kinds of circles because of it being on a crossroads where they intersect. Yeah, Lee's told me about this a few times.
Oh my God.
And she could see me in there, nobody there.
I
And
don't know if that's one of the walkers of the skin. I'll say I don't want to say the name forward, but I don't know if that's one of the walkers of the skin. There's strange stories. I have a friend that is
now
Native
this would
American.
be in the Allegheny Forest.
Okay, like the national forest.
Hmm. Very edge of
Yeah,
it, mind you.
and I mean, there's
Actually,
a lot of disappearances that happen in the national forest.
no,
Um,
definitely. We've investigated that spot a couple times now and gotten little things. Um, actually, voice clear as a day directly outside my tent. Um, it was kind of weird. The one night we were there, Lee was in my car and my significant other was in the car. To me, it felt like we lost time. Um, we were kind of
time
off by,
dilation.
well, we were parked on a little side oil lease road, which was slightly off the main road, like by 5 feet, 10 feet. It wasn't like significantly up. And I kept trying back up to get onto the main road and go. And it just wasn't lining up right. And it only felt like it just felt weird. And then all of a sudden, we were facing the right way on the main road to go. It was a very weird, kind of odd feeling.
Like you lost
Um,
time.
right.
I've
He
heard of these.
says a switchback. So yeah, it was kind of weird because all of a sudden I was trying to back up and going back and forth and it just wasn't working right. And all of a sudden it was like, wait, We're on the main road. So that was a weird
When?
feeling.
How? What? Yeah,
Right.
that would be
Me,
wild.
I looked over at my significant other stuff, and she's like, I was like, she's like, that's not right. And so we kind of went along our way, but yeah,
Right. It's
it
time
was
to get out of
definitely
there at that point for sure.
another video you can watch on the YouTube channel is called Haunted Woods, the most haunted woods, or something is like that with the title. You'd be able to find it probably the only place in the woods on the channel.
Okay.
Um,
To
as
kind
well
of
as there's several places. Our area has lots of interesting locations. Like even the property that was our mall, they turned it to a strip mall now. Has all kinds of activity on that.
hmm,
You would probably like that place because there's a lot of history that could be found on it.
I
um,
would love that. Yeah. And I feel like it does definitely add to the activity of an area. The more history. So I'm from St. Albans, West Virginia, and here back in like the 1910s, there was a flood that took out at least half the town. And then I think 2 to 3 years later, there was a fire on the main street that took out pretty much every house on Main Street. Um, and the original street is still there. It's called Old Main, and it's a brick street. And that's where I did my first investigation. Um, and I got things that was talking about the fire and the floods and things of that nature. And it's hard to dismiss or debunk things. Like if my phone's on airplane mode, there shouldn't be anything interacting with it. Um, there shouldn't be anything that can give me a response, especially if I'm not giving any information out verbally. If I'm just like, what happened to you? And it's like, I died in a fire. Well, how do I explain that? You know what I mean? Um, you
what
just
is
kind of
your
have to.
favorite piece of equipment to use for that kind of stuff?
Um, Honestly, the thing that I get the most out of is that Spirit Talker app. I've had
Yeah.
really intelligent conversations come through there, people's names, dates. Um, I've gotten my name a couple times, or they'll comment about stuff that I'm wearing on an investigation, and I'm like, how do they know what
USA.
I'm wearing unless they're here? You know?
Right.
Um,
That's a little harder to fake.
right.
Now, so do you get people that criticize you for using phone apps, or have not really
I
came
mean,
across
I've heard people um kind of like dismiss them, but a lot of those people are like, if you showed them solid evidence, I can't say that they wouldn't automatically debunk it. I feel like they're more looking to debunk it rather than like, is this potentially real? Um,
it.
so I think mindset plays into it a little bit. To kind
Yeah,
of circle,
there's definitely people out there that no matter what, you could have a ghost come out and have 50 people around say, no, this is legit. And they'd still say, oh, no, they're all
so
hired actors. Yeah.
so this is something that really happened um, back in the time of Nikola Tesla. He and Edison had a competition to build a device to speak to spirits and see who could do it first. And so Tesla developed the Tesla radio that works off of a quartz crystal, no power needed. It just works off the ambient energy in the room. And he was convinced that he was talking to spirits from the other side. And Edison also came up with a device It was like a modification of a record player essentially, and he
Okay.
was able to get things as well. But to see like two powerhouses slash inventors tackle something that some people laugh at and just refuse to believe. I mean, why would they throw their money in that? They might be bored, but outside of that, if they got results
Uh,
from it,
I don't think money was much of an aspect. I can't imagine that would have been too expensive for them.
mm-mm.
But
And,
their credibility, their time, the
right.
possibility of being shunned, things like that, especially back then. Now that's the true mark of it.
So to kind of circle back on like if anybody that's wanting to get into this, you can get a Tesla radio kit. It's like $25. Um, and hook it up. Just hook it up to a little speaker, rechargeable speaker, and you can get a lot of really good things off of that. And if you don't like apps, that would probably be the best way to do it to get responses and communicate. The flashlights are always good. Um, like I said before, I would have at least one person with you. I've been in situations where I just felt drained and almost dizzy. Like I lost sense of where I was, lost sense of time. Um, so always have somebody with you. Avoid Ouija boards unless you're
I
ready
was
for
gonna
that.
ask,
Um,
I got a different view of Ouija boards. I think maybe not different, but I'm more of a believer. I don't use them, and the team don't use them for the most part.
I believe they work. I just I don't
I believe
believe.
it. I believe it's the energy you put into it.
Okay, that
Like,
makes a lot of
like,
sense actually.
like a group of 8-year-old kids playing around at I don't know, teenager or a sleepover probably ain't gonna summon much.
Right.
Whereas somebody that's purposely going for the paranormal, you're putting that energy into it, that you're seeking that and truly calling for it.
I mean, some of these like the Tesla
I
radio.
didn't
I
know
hope
you could
so.
still
I want
buy
to
them.
see it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can still buy them. You can get them off Etsy.
Well, you almost had me. If you would have said Timu, I probably would have done
I mean, yeah, they're on Temu, Amazon.
it for easy
But
payments. I like that.
if you want, it's only like I said, the one I was looking at, it was about $23.
I'm a bus
And
driver. That's
right,
a half week salary.
we need raises. We need raises. Whoever's listening
No doubt. Speaking of that, Cash App is,
in the bio
but
down below.
yeah, but what do you think? Speaking, my better half is asking Alexa for the weather and such, but um, there's been. Well, I guess I'll ask you first, and then I'll. I was looking at for something on the side of my computer over here, but what do you think about Alexa and Google and such? All these stories that people talk about hearing creepy laughs and things like that going on with their.
I've experienced that myself. Um, I want to say it was what's the Google device? Alexa?
No, Google is just you say, "Hey Google," or Google
Or
Nest, Google
maybe it's the
Home.
Amazon one. Is the Amazon
Amazon is
Alexa?
Alexa.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I had experiences with an Alexa. Um, it would just start playing songs randomly. Um, I don't know if I ever heard a laugh necessarily, but I think so. And I would see sometimes it would light up and kick on, and like nobody's doing anything,
Yeah,
nobody's near
little
it, everybody's asleep.
That little boom or what? That little
Yeah, and then
chime.
you see the light on top start spinning. Yeah. Um, so they kind of scare me. I think they help a lot for some people, but they scare me a little bit.
Well, with her asking, it brought it back to my memory. Um, they I probably shouldn't have it in my bedroom, but I have a Google Home that was given to me, one of those little mini speakers, and then I had the Alexa given to me, both as gifts. So I feel like I have to use them, but having them in the same room is a little redundant, you know. So
You
the
you
Alexa,
had them talk to each other?
not yet. I thought about it a few times, but you know, but so yeah, it's played music like you said on its own just randomly. I've heard the little ding, and I'll hear it talking to somebody. Like,
Yeah.
well, I'll be
Like,
downstairs, I'll be halfway upstairs, and I'll hear it say, start having a conversation. It's like, uh, do I really want to go up there?
I don't want to
So,
interrupt. I don't want to be rude, you know?
right. I mean, maybe all I know, well, good thing I don't have it connected to any of my banks, so nobody's like ordering stuff or anything. But
Right,
so
right.
yeah, I mean, sometimes that's a little creepy having that just kind of going on.
I know that you can ask it certain questions and get some interesting responses.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
Walked out the
He's
door.
saying my mother once told of an experience she had in her younger days with a Ouija board. One of the guys in the group asked when he was going to die. Answer was prepare to meet your maker. He walked out the door and a
A
tree
tree
fell
fell
on him
on.
and killed him.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're gonna use one, just be prepared for that experience. Is all I can say. I'm not saying don't use them. Um,
Use it with extreme caution.
right, right.
And don't ask when you're going to die.
Don't ask something you don't really want the answer to. You know. I've
But
noticed.
yeah, so we have these devices in our homes and such that are constantly listening, even though they say they don't. But how are they going to answer you when you say, hey, Google or Alexa, unless they're already
Right,
listening, right?
right.
Yeah, I
Hey,
don't blame you. I I don't. It doesn't
I
bother
lo-
me either way. I look at it as a piece of board. It's all the energy you put into it, in my view.
right.
And
I
you
love her.
can,
She's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
But these other devices, it makes you wonder what's going on. That's like with watching all these paranormal shows. And I'll ask this of you: do you believe that watching the the TV shows, the YouTube channels, all these asking about paranormal and such? Do you think that's a possibility to leach into your homes?
I'm gonna say yes. Um, based on my personal experiences. So like I've been watching something, um, and then I will feel the air in my room change. Like it gets heavy and cold. And then like the hair on my arm will stand up. Um, and then if I change what I'm watching, it'll go away. But it's
You
like
really?
it's almost like drawing attention to that entity, observing it. You know, they say that every particle is conscious, so even down to like an energy level, maybe like thinking about it, talking about it, feeds into it or pulls it towards you.
I don't remember what they were, quirks or such, where these two small atom type small particles didn't would react differently when they were being noticed that they were being observed. It would change their
Absolutely.
patterns and such.
Right.
So that's along what you're saying, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So the experiment, they did it observed and unobserved. And when they were observed, it was a very consistent pattern. When it was unobserved, it was kind of all over the place. Um, mm, I guess you could say that goes even down to like Schrodinger's cat. Like, is the cat alive or dead or both? You're not
Right.
observing it, so you don't know. Um,
But
the
once
cat's
you
not
open the
the
box,
best example, right? The cat's not the best example, but like watching two atoms, two molecules change their behavior when they're observed and when they're not. It's fascinating.
it is, especially since, how is it even aware that we're doing it? But that's
Right,
because the energy we're putting out. And that's with the TV shows and such. I feel an entity ain't gonna know the difference of us saying hello, are you here, or somebody on TV saying that.
right. So to that, like I will say, um, if I'm watching a movie, um, I don't think that'll like channel necessarily what's in the movie, but if I'm watching like a ghost investigation somebody else is doing, I feel like
Like
that
Twin
can,
Paranormal.
yeah, something like that, it can pull it in.
Yeah, I often wondered that myself. I was just sitting down one day. A lot of times on Sundays, I just spend the whole day just binge watching such things, and I was just sitting back and thinking to myself, "Huh? I wonder if the spirits ever wonder if they're being called around here or not."
So how do you know if they react when they're not being observed without observing them?
Probably by video.
Ye- Yeah, so what you do is it's basically like imagine you're at a gun range and you're firing a like a 22 rifle in a vise, and there's not enough recoil that in between shots it should move. But for some reason, when you turn the opposite way and pull the string to fire it, it's hitting off target. That's the best explanation I can give you on that.
Works. So, what's the future that for you and and not only just you, but your channels and such, your social media? Is this something that you see long term, or do you see it just being letting the social media kind of fade away and you just continue doing your stuff?
I think it's something that's gonna continue. There will be like breaks and stuff, of course. Life gets busy sometimes, but I think it's something that's going to continue. I really want to wrap up the second season. I've got, I believe, 26 episodes altogether. Most of them are about an hour long. Some of them are close to 2 hours. A few
Per
are just
season.
like 2 seasons. So I'm on, I think, episode 8 of the second season right now. It's the one that I just uploaded at 6 p.m.
Seen you had a premiere.
Yeah. I set it for 6 p.m. and I was working on it. Like I had one eye open and I'm like trying to type while I'm fighting my sleep, and um but it's just part of it, if you really are passionate about something, it doesn't really matter how tired you are, you'll find the strength to get it done. But this is something that I enjoy doing a lot, and I get to travel, I get to see different places, meet different people. Um if anything, I would like to maybe get like a business license and make it super official for this brand. Um, and then that way,
Probably
when I
best
do travel, I can write it off and stuff like that.
probably
But
best way to go would be LLC.
LLC, yeah. I do have an LLC currently. I have a video game that is on Steam, that anybody can play. It's called Dawn of Yokai. It's about Japanese mythology and old
Nice.
world religion.
Hmm. A lot of people probably that watch this doesn't know what Steam is. On
Yeah,
this channel, anyways.
Steam is it's an app. You can use it on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, or your computer, and my game will run on all of those. It's an old school RPG. It looks kind of like the original Pokemon, like over top view. Um,
Okay. Kind of like
but
Zelda.
kind of like Zelda. I'm old, so no, I don't know what that
I
is.
was, I think I heard of it, so I can't say I'm definitely old, but I think of the fact that I have kids in their 20s, I think is the only reason why I've heard about it myself.
Yeah. I mean, I pitched it to Nintendo, probably about 2 months ago, and I finally heard back just a couple weeks ago. Um, and I think they want me to. I think it might have been too hard at the end of the game, honestly.
Okay.
I have a Dante's Inferno style dissension through bosses. You fight one right after the other, and
Yeah.
I think I need to turn that part down a little bit. It's a little too hard.
A
But then
little chaotic.
yeah, it's an RPG. It's called Dawn of Yokai.
That's pretty cool. Awesome. Congrats that you've gotten that far.
Thank you, thank you. I hated my job. I was a dishwasher at the time, and I would come home and force myself to work on it like an hour, maybe 2 hours a day after work, and it kind of helped me get out of the mindset that I was in. Gave me something to do.
Right. Well, it was something you're passionate about, so it's not work. It took you away from work.
On the topic of like weird, unexplained things in the woods, um, I can recall one time I was with my dad, and if you know where Sutton or Flatwoods is in West Virginia, there's a campground up there, and a train tunnel that goes through a mountain. You go through the train tunnel, and there's a bridge that spans across Sutton Lake. Me
Okay.
and my dad walked through the tunnel, and as soon as we got on the other side of the tunnel, there was this. I can't call it a growl. I can't call it a roar. Um, there was just like a deep, almost guttural kind of yell that I've never heard. I've hunted my whole life. Um, I'm almost more comfortable in the woods than I am inside civilization, but I cannot explain this noise, and I have never heard anything like that before. Um, and then it was up above the train tunnel where there was some rocks, so there could have been a cave. Um, I tried to go online and find bear sounds. Nothing matched this thing. It was. I'm not saying it was like a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch or something like that, but uh, whatever it was, it had huge lung capacity, and it was a deeper sound than a bear.
What kind of noise does Mothman make?
Whee! That's a hard one to
I
answer.
wasn't trying to make it. I really didn't know.
I've got some theories on Mothman.
I'm gonna clip that out and put that all over the place.
Whee! Whee! Little Mothman, the little antenna.
Right. So
Uh,
your theories on that?
so I want to say it was the Montauk project. It was either that or The one where they're experimenting with psychedelics and the effect on the mind,
Mhm.
and it was one of those two projects. And there's a paper trail of there being a branch of that project in Point Pleasant around the time of Mothman, and it's
Wow.
there's there's bills of work where somebody built something underground that was very expensive, and it never says really like what it is or any like details that could confirm anything necessarily, just that there was work done on an underground area in Point Pleasant near the river, and that's all we know. But I think the Mothman is like an extension of the Montauk project or the other one where they're experiencing or experimenting with the human psyche. They say they had these chairs that you sit in them and it kind of like energizes you and gets you in a Montauk. Yeah, so it would be Montauk project. Thank you, Lee.
Uh,
Um,
he's he's speaking of the Netflix show
yeah,
Stranger Things.
and that's the same thing. If you listen to that story, they were producing at the end of the story they produced a monster with just their consciousness, and that's what like destroyed the base. And when you see in Stranger Things, she's like closing up that
Mhm.
gate at the end.
Right.
Spoiler alert, when she's closing up that gate. Um,
Well, I mean, it's been what, years since that's been out.
yeah, yeah. Still though, it's just CYA, cover your butt, you know. But I think it was I think the Mothman was born of like the Montauk project. And I think that they had a underground base there. They have the TNT silos there as well, where Mothman was seen actually nearby them. And I think one of those silos may or may not have downstairs access to something. And who would know which one it is? Because there's so many of them on these back roads that
Right.
most of them's locked up. But to me, it's funny if you go there in person, the locks on some of the doors will be changed out, will be updated every so often. That's strange
Hmm.
to me.
Yeah, because obviously somebody's there keeping people out.
Right. And like I understand like, maybe kids are going in there and cutting the lock or something like that, but that often, I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
Or maybe every time somebody is relieved of duty, they change out the lock.
Probably so. That would make sense too. Or keeping
Or
something in, that's possible too. That is possible. Um, there's a story about
not a
the Denver airport that's similar to keeping something in.
yeah,
Have you heard anything about the Denver airport?
not that I'm aware of, but I was going to ask, and we could go back to that. Is what's your views? Speaking of woods and things like that, of them finding staircases in the middle of nowhere.
I have found one
You
before.
personally found one,
Yeah, yeah, I found one,
and,
and I'm
and
not.
I don't mean
I went up.
like
I went up 3 steps, and I was too afraid to go up any more than that, and I went back down. Um,
were you by yourself?
at the time, yeah,
Yeah, see, I probably wouldn't even done
I was
two.
with a group. I got somehow I ended up off on a side tangent, um, to the
It
point where
feels
I
like
couldn't.
that's normal for you. Uh,
Yeah,
being
I just get pulled in places sometimes. Like I said, I'm kind of a lightning rod for these things, but I did come across one in the middle of the woods. I've heard a series of tunnels and rooms under the Denver airport. Yeah,
Mm.
there's side quests for sure. Um, but the staircases, I went up 3 steps. I felt very lightheaded, and it was almost like it was like trying to make me sit down on the steps, and I just got back off the steps and rejoined with my group. Um, but on the way back out, I couldn't find it again.
Really?
Yeah,
So you
on the
went
way,
back to the main quest.
right, I rejoined with the party and continued with the main quest, and then the side quest
You're
disappeared.
you're the adventurer. Okay, we get it.
Yeah,
um, was there any indication that there was any building by it or anything at one point?
none that I could see. I didn't see any kind of a foundation or anything like that. Like I have found completely abandoned houses and buildings out in the middle of the woods, um, which like that in itself doesn't make sense a lot of times. I won't see any evidence of a road, but here where I'm
But
at,
still,
like dirt roads were like a norm for a long time, so that could grow up very easily over years, and
right.
you know,
And you're seeing parts of a house, be it stairs and chimneys. You could tell that was man made. But my understanding is these stairs is kind of they look reasonably well together and no foundation or anything around it to say, huh, that's odd. Everything but the steps fell apart.
yeah,
It truly seems
it's
to
super
be its
weird.
own.
And the more I think about it, it's like there's no reason for the staircase to be standing up because at the back of the staircase, I don't remember there being like a support. I don't want to say it came up like this. I want to say it kind of like went up like this. Um, so that's
Have you ever
also the
been
point.
asked? You ever been asked about that before?
I think you're the first person that's asked me about staircases. My cousin might have asked me about it one time, but that's something that I've
Hmm.
actually experienced myself in the woods, and I've been hunting ever since I was like probably 8 years old. Um, so I've spent a lot of time in these woods.
Do you think if somebody else would have been with you, you would have went all the way up?
Maybe, but like I said, I got to about the third step and just something didn't feel right. I started getting real dizzy, and I wonder like if I would have made it to the top, if I would have been super dizzy or blacked out and maybe fell off.
Or
Um,
fell into the other dimension?
yeah,
And we
woke
wouldn't.
up woke up in the back rooms or something. Yeah.
Oh, that's a whole different set of things. There ain't that the back rooms. But before we get too far, let's. You were mentioning the Denver airport. Let's go to a safer topic.
Okay. So the Denver airport, there's a lot of interesting art there. Some would say it's borderline demonic, and there was a project to when it was built, they built this huge basement, um, and then they built the airport on top. And most of the money, most of the funds went into that basement.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a there's a channel I follow. It's Night God 333. Um, he gets story submissions from people, and I can't say it happened or it didn't happen. It's all word of mouth.
Right.
But he had a story from somebody that worked at that airport as like a maintenance person, and he had to go down in the basement one time, and there's a locked door down there that nobody would talk about. Nobody had a key to, and nobody had any kind of idea or was willing to talk about where it went or its existence, really. They just told him to kind of hush up and don't talk about it,
Hmm.
get in, get out. Um, but he was a maintenance man, so he had to go in these tunnels sometimes. And one time he went down and the door was open, and he could not deny his curiosity. And so he travels down this very, very long descending stairwell. And long story short, he comes across some kind of creatures, similar to insects, I would think. That's the best way I can describe them, similar to insects.
Yeah.
And then he had to struggle to get back out of there, and he just barely made it out of there in time with help from somebody that was down there.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what all is underneath us. We've explored very limited amounts of the ocean. We're just now finding these cities and tunnels underneath ancient places, like the stuff in Egypt. They just found these layers and layers of structures. So I wonder what is under the Denver airport.
If you
And
were given the golden ticket, would you go?
I would probably go, yeah. I know Tesla went there at one point.
Really?
Tesla was there
Oh,
at one
he made
point.
it back.
He did
Else?
he did the experiment at Colorado Springs where he almost took down the power grid in the nearby towns.
What? See, I haven't heard none of this, so this is all new to me.
That's where he built one of his towers. He had to find somewhere where there was heavy mineral deposits in the ground so it would conduct better. And he powered up his machine pretty much as hard as he could, and all the lights flickered in all the nearby towns.
That's a lot of power.
Yeah.
And then, once again, we have all these minerals underneath us and things like that. That's just producing energy in itself. And, all this stuff that I can't imagine living through life and saying, oh, there's no paranormal, there's no this, there's no that. How boring that must be to have that view.
Oh, I feel like so many people, they have so much going on that when they experience something, they don't have time to process it. They've got to get back to work, or you know what I mean, like janitors in old buildings that like see doors close or lights flicker or something. Like they don't have time to mess around with it. They just want to get in and get out, and they
Don't
probably don't
want
even
to.
want to. Yeah, they probably don't even want to talk about it. There's things happen every single day that people cannot explain.
Well, speaking about being janitors and such, for a brief bit of time, I was janitor slash maintenance of our local mall here when it was a mall, and Leafoot happened to get a job there. And I was kind of training him, and it was after everything was closed. I don't know if he remembers this or not. We were walking down the one service hallway, and the roof is solid metal, like thick metal, and we were walking down, and we heard footsteps going across the roof. It was like, yeah, no, you're not
No,
gonna just hear regular footsteps.
right.
So yeah, that was that place. So speaking of janitors not wanting to deal with stuff, I think we just kind of looked at each other and was like, "That's okay. You do
Done
what
for
you
the
got."
day. We're done for the day. Let's clock out and go
I
home.
I don't know if he's still here or if he remembers that, but yeah, that mall was very active. Um, but yeah, it's an old building and a lot of history on that land. So um, I would hear things and see things there, and for the most part, I was like, yeah, it's my clock out time. it's the night guy's problem, the overnight guy. I actually asked him one time about that, and he said, oh, I don't believe in that stuff, the overnight guy that did the floors and such. But I noticed one night he was really freaked out, like almost going unnaturally ballistic because he couldn't find his headphones to keep in his ears while he was working. So I'm thinking that was his way of
of
not
of zoning, like drowning all that out. Just
right,
focus and stay in here, and you'll be fine.
right.
I mean, yeah, you start hearing things. Some of these old hospitals and stuff, you get in there and just walk around, you'll hear some things. Old
Well, I know.
cemeteries, mausoleums.
I know. That's why I like doing these shows because not only do I hear other people's experiences, but I could kind of say to myself, "Oh yeah, yep, uh-huh." I know that feeling because I have been in there. Like you said with the hospitals and such.
Hmm.
Some of the people that watch my show often has heard me talk about this. Um, there's a hospital about 40 minutes away that's closed down. They got some office space and such in there now. But we were buying some cabinets from the owner of the building. And I think we had our paranormal team shirt on, me and my girlfriend, Stephanie. And he's like, went to buy these cabinets from, and he goes, looks at the shirts. Oh, you're into that kind of stuff. Yeah, we are. He's like, well, how would you like to check out the morgue, which is down in the basement? We're like, sure, why not? So
Yeah.
we go checking out the morgue, and really nothing. A room looked cool. Still had the table in it and such, for the bodies to lay on. The guy's like, yeah, I don't normally come down here at night and such. We're like, so we I'll pull that up in a second. Um,
Okay.
so so we start leaving with this guy. It was me, my girlfriend, and him, the owner of the building. We're going through the corridors, and he's about 5 steps ahead of us. And as we walk past the boiler room, the phone starts ringing. Like we hit the open door, me and my girlfriend. And it goes, the old desktop telephone, not super old, but like 80s. And he kind of stops, looks at us, like his color starting to drain out of his face. I look over here, I'm like, "Can I go answer that?" He's like, yeah, okay." I'm like, so I go in, find the phone real quick, answer it, nothing, no dial tone, no nothing. So I put it down, go back out. I was like, I don't know, I guess they didn't want to talk. He's like, this dude looks like he's ready to run. And he's pale as could be. He goes, yeah, that's never happened before. I was like, what? It's like, there's no phone service in this building. There's no reason for that to be ring. That's never rang since I've owned this place. I was like, oh, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, there's no phone service to this building, and that phone should have never been here to begin with. So
So
he's
it
like,
wasn't
I'm ready.
even it wasn't even hooked up or anything.
Well, I don't know if it was hooked up to the wall, but yeah, there was no service to the building. So yeah,
Oh
and the timing
wow.
of it, just as we stepped in front of that door, it started ringing.
Huh.
So
Crossing into the
that,
threshold, huh?
that was what I not only was I willing, I did go in and answer the phone. I'm like, that dude didn't look very comfortable about me doing it, but so let's see. Was the janitor at our county courthouse? Uh, Excuse me. A judge was
Judge
murdered
was
on the bench in 1950. Working one night on the first floor, heard several feet running across the floor above me. Nobody else in the building at 11:30 p.m. Uh, yeah, that's actually a kind of famous case here in Warren County. Judge Wade, I believe, was the judge's name, was found with another guy's wife, if I remember correctly, and the guy came in and
oh
shot him. took him out of the courtroom to the judge's chamber, and that's where the judge died. That's probably
That's where he was unalived at.
right, and probably the feet was running back and forth, like a residual haunting, maybe. You can still see the bullet hole in the court chambers.
Huh. In Warren
So
County.
Warren County, Warren, Pennsylvania. So
I may have
you
to
could
come
probably
check that
Google
out.
it. Yeah, there's books on it and such, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Warren, Pennsylvania, Warren County, and if you end up forgetting that, either A, you can come back and watch the show, or B, send me a message and I'll give you the information.
Okay.
But yeah, so he was working in the courthouse and he's told me about this before. Yeah, where he was talking about would have been the path they would have ran into the courtroom and ran the judge back to the judge's chamber.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things that just murder in the courtroom.
That's the book name.
Okay, that's the name of the book. Thank you.
Interesting. So those are a couple of stories in our area. The hospital one, I mean, I kick myself. I would really love to go back there and investigate. They're reaching out to us.
I did an investigation at a nearby football field that's been there for a long time. It's like surrounded by an old rock wall that was built. It was like similar to what you might see around a moat or a castle or something.
A
Um,
football field.
I did that with the football field. It's been there for a long, long time for the school, and I was there with Teresa of SRI Huntington. And the story goes that there was a boy went there to confront bullies, and one of the bullies tried to fight him, lost. So the guy, he's like, leave me alone. He went to leave. The bully, upset that he had lost the fight, pulls out a gun and shoots the kid in the back. And the kid ends up, I believe he passed as soon as he got in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. So I went there with Teresa of SRI Huntington, and we wanted to try and figure out if that was real, and also like what happened, what was the story there. And what we got in our evidence was that it was supposed to be the younger brother that was supposed to go confront these kids. And the older brother said, no, I'm going to go handle it. So the older brother ends up dying in his younger brother's place.
Hmm.
And now he's stuck there at that football field.
What a place to be stuck.
And it was funny because there was people walking around the track surrounding the football field, and we were getting like responses and comments that sounded like it was a kid in high school. Like he's like, "Oh, those girls are cute" and stuff like that. And but everything pointed to that it was the older brother. He wouldn't let the younger brother go. Maybe he had a bad feeling about it, but he went in place of his younger brother to try and protect him, and he ended up losing his life for it.
That's a sad story there, man.
It
Well, you
is.
got a couple of those, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I
But
remember more than I think I do.
that's the kind of joy and curse of learning the history of places, I assume.
Hmm. Very much so. I enjoy it though. I feel like I'm learning more about my area, my state, at least where I currently live, and I do love this area. It's got a lot of history. Um, at one point, I found in an old newspaper article before the Canal River was kind of engineered. they were carbon dating the things they were finding here, and
Yeah.
they were able to carbon date back to, I want to say, around 4000 BC, and they said they were on the verge of going to a different area that they suspected was as old as 75,000 BC, or 7500 BC. I apologize.
That's where you're at
7500.
now.
Yeah, the Kanawha Valley area specifically. And before they could carbon date that section, they flooded it and let the river fill up. So this area is very old. Very old in general. I think Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia's got a lot of history. Up there where you're at, Pennsylvania,
It
very.
sounds like you are willing to travel to some degree.
Oh yes, absolutely. That's part of the joy of it for me.
If
Is
I find out a good time for it to be exposed and such, I'll reach out to you. Maybe you'll travel out this way. There's a little village that got flooded out by the Kinzu Dam that was called Corydon. And when the weather's really dry and such, you could go and see some of the buildings that are still standing and such that you don't normally see them until it's a really dry season. And bring some equipment. You could do any research you want to do or such when that
I would
comes up.
love
It
that.
sounds like I was about to say, it sounds like the kind of place that you would enjoy to be at by your channel and what we've been talking about. I don't know if you know who Johnny Cash is,
Yes.
the singer. He actually sang a song about the dam and such. The song itself is called "As Long as the Grass Shall Grow," and that's about the dam. That's about 20 minutes down the road for me.
Huh. So it's
Um,
not far from where you're at now.
no, by no means. So when I hear about that getting close to being good, try to give you a heads up, and then if you can make it, I'll bring you there.
Absolutely, yes. Please.
And I mean, if nothing, you get to see the history side of it. If something, you get yeah, no doubt. If you might get some paranormal stuff. Yeah, it's been raining nonstop. I'm almost ready to build an ark here.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
recently bought a boat, but I think a piece of wood would suffice
In a pinch. But
in a pinch. Yeah,
I think if it's okay with you, I think we're gonna wrap this up. My mind's starting to go blank quite a bit more. So um if you wouldn't mind, I would like to invite you back another day. We'll get together and set up a time and a day for that.
absolutely. I would enjoy
Because
that.
I enjoyed tonight's conversation with you. Um
Thank you.
Definitely a fun night. I definitely appreciate you coming on. Is there any
Yeah.
one video that you would like everybody to check out that you would feel really shows who you are? On
Um.
your YouTube? I know there's so many videos, right? It's like, which one?
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. I mean
No
the
problem.
Pope Lick train trestle one. That's the one where I got scratched. I wouldn't necessarily say jump to that one, but that one does have a lot. A lot. Um, hmm.
I tell you what, send me a link to it. I'll put it on the Facebook page and I'll put it in my YouTube community.
All right. Yeah, that works for me. Because right now there's a few. The Pope Lick train trestle. That's season 1, episode 17. That is the one where I get scratched. And I actually leave early. You'll see most of my videos are at least like an hour long. That one is short of an hour. Thurmond was fun, but I didn't get as much. Allegheny Cemetery, the one up there by you, that
Yeah.
was a good one for me too. I
Well,
want to
go
say
ahead and
there was
think it over
okay.
and send me a link. I'll link it and share it. And then everybody that's here or watches in the replay, check out the link I share and drop a boo in the comments. I like having people say boo. I don't know why. But
It's fun
if you're yeah, it's just a little cliche, but we're
doing
doing
Thurman.
in July. Nice.
Thurman is
Hey,
interesting.
you guys can link up and you can give some advice and such. Boo. Boo hoo. Don't cry. But
Are you calling him Boo? Is that what is this? Are you calling him Boo?
nah, she's calling you boo.
She's calling me
Calling you honey
Boo.
boo boo. Boo,
Boo,
really?
really?
That's another side.
I'm alive.
Right. When we're saying a little quick story on that. I'll make it really quick. Normally I make it a 5-minute conversation, but he said drop a boo. uh, we were on one of our first couple cases, probably like our third case. We were coming back through his little town in by us, Russell, Pennsylvania. I'm driving. Lee's in the passenger seat, another member in the back, and we're just kind of talking about the night. And we drive past cemetery, and I hear something in my ear, and I'm looking at Lee. After a minute of me looking at him, he goes, "What?" I was like, "Did you just say something?" He's like, "No." Other than what we've been, I was like, "You didn't just say something? Whisper something?" He's like, "No." He's like, "What did you hear?" I was like, and I wish I would have thought about it, but I said it. I literally heard somebody whisper in my ear, "Boo." Of all the damn
Boo.
things for anybody to say to whisper, it was boo. And now he hasn't let me live it down. But yeah,
Well, I
boo.
mean, if that's what you heard, then
That's what I heard.
that's what
Put
you heard.
clear as day.
Something clever was definitely letting you know it was there.
Right. No doubt. So every once in a while, if I say boo or it pops in his mind, he brings it up. But alrighty, sir. Stay around. You'll see Lee Foot in the outro video.
All
Um,
right.
I
Thank you for
appreciate
having
you
me
being
on.
on.
I appreciate you.
It was
I've had
definitely a pleasure.
I've had a really good time, good conversation.
Thank you. Like I said, it's more of a sit back chat than an interview. Is the way I try to make it. Um, a couple people that love the paranormal and chat that loves the paranormal, and you know, we kind of just have a good Saturday night. So I hope you have a great night and watch the video, the outro. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, brother. It's good talking to
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys. What a wonderful guest. It's hard to believe that pretty much 2 hours have gone by. It's been a wonderful night. I learned stuff. Um, New channel to really dive into, which since tomorrow is Sunday, that's what I'll be doing. But I'm not going to ramble on. So I wish everybody a wonderful night. And as always, stay spooky, my friends.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for stopping down and appreciate the visit. Now get the hell off of my porch. We'll see you the next time. Come on back.